Welcome everyone once again to Bowden Homes. I'm Pastor Jason. At our church, our mission is to know Jesus, love the family, and bless others. Today we're going to talk about loving the church family. A number of years ago, a reporter in California arranged for a man to lie in a gutter and to see what people would do as they passed by. Well, they found out that no one stopped for the man, and no one showed that they even cared that he was there. Would a person be any less likely to help today? I've heard somebody talk about going shopping. It seems like you're going into a war zone. You look at others as if they are a possibly virus-infected enemy. Today, we're going to learn how to care from the great example of Timothy. He was an ordinary young man who genuinely cared for the church family. So, who was this Timothy fellow? Now, Timothy was a teenager Paul found while he was in Lystra. If you don't know where Lystra is, it's in modern-day Turkey. It's a place where Paul was stoned and left for dead on the first time he visited there. In Acts 16, when Paul comes again to the place, it says the believer spoke well of him. Timothy agrees to go with Paul and Silas and Luke on their missionary journey. On the journey, Paul becomes Timothy's spiritual father. And for the next 10 years, Paul goes and teaches Timothy, his son, how to be like Jesus. Well, Timothy's first major stop on his missionary adventure is the Greek city of Philippi. And so he develops a deep love for the people that are there. Philippians 2 verses 19 and 24 says, I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you soon, that I also may be cheered when I receive news about you. I have no one else like him who will show genuine concern for your welfare. For everyone else looks for their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. But you know that Timothy has proved himself, because as a son with his father, he has served with me in the work of the gospel. I hope therefore to send him as soon as I see how things go with me. And I am confident in the Lord that I myself will come soon. There was something different about Timothy than all the others, and that is he cared. Timothy deeply cared for the Philippian believers. You know, Timothy reminds me of Charity's late Uncle John. He was a man who was able to connect and really care for people. I remember having conversations with him, and as I was talking with him, it seemed like I was the only other person in the room. It didn't matter if there was 100 people around. I was the only one there. He had the ability to listen and to hear exactly what I was saying. And he asked some very good questions, and he was curious. He genuinely was curious about what I was saying and thinking and feeling, and he wanted to know what it was like. You see, Uncle John genuinely cared, and that's the example of Timothy today. Today, I want to focus on two ways how Timothy cared, and it's found in verses 20-21. For I have no one else like him who will show genuine concern for your welfare. For everyone looks out for their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. First off, Timothy genuinely cared for others. It started in his heart. He had this care and concern for others, and it bubbled up into the way he talked. And he would ask questions, how are people doing? And he really wanted to know what was going on. Well, today we're called to do the same thing. We're to have genuine concern for others. And how we do that is simply as picking up the phone, start doing a text message, writing a letter, or sending a card, or even visiting someone in their front yard. These things say, I care, and I am thinking about you. Secondly, Timothy looked to the interests of others. We read in verse 21, for everyone looks out for their own interests, not those of Jesus Christ. You see, Paul was having a problem. The believers in Rome, they were selfish. They were thinking me, mine. I'm not going to go to to the Greek city of Philippi, go all that way to encourage them. No, I'm going to be selfish. All except Timothy. Timothy wanted to go, and because he looked out for others' interests. You see, Timothy looked to the interests of the Philippian believers. He wanted to encourage them and serve them. He also looked to the interests of Jesus. I have a question for us. Are we looking out for our own interests? Or are we looking out for the interests of Jesus? You know, Jesus said in Matthew 25 that whatever you do for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you do for me. And when he was talking about that, he was talking about food, clothing, and water. Is that what you're doing? Are you helping those around us? Are you looking for your own interests or others' interests? Dr. Lawrence Gold once said, "I do not believe the greatest threat to our future is from bombs or guided missiles. I don't think our civilization will end that way. I think it will die when we no longer care." Do you care what's happening around us? Think of our province, the flooding that's happening in Fort McMurray and other places. Think of our country, with Nova Scotia and the shooting that's happening. Do you care what is going on? When followers of Jesus stop caring, darkness ensues. So this week, be a Timothy and care for your church family. Well, until next time, for Bowden Hopes, I'm Pastor Jason. And remember, we have hope because we have Jesus.